Good Thursday afternoon, everyone. Hunter here again at Weather on the Go. And looking at today's afternoon update, we're going to be looking at, again, more severe weather likely today from the Ohio Valley, the Mid-Atlantic southward through the southeast. We'll also look at a major warm-up expected and still on track for this weekend where temperatures could be up to 30 degrees above the norm for the middle of April. And we continue to monitor the potential for significant severe weather not only for Monday next week, but also for Tuesday as well. We'll be detailing that later on in today's afternoon update. If you are new here to Weather on the Go and you are not a subscriber, make sure you subscribe to the channel down below so I can keep you covered on your weather forecast throughout the year. And be sure to press the like button, the thumbs up button down below. It helps out more than you know. So let's take a look back here at our climate cycle because we are in an El Nino here and it has been dropping like a rock lately. And you can see just about a few weeks ago, late March, we actually did have that spiking back up to about plus 1.3 and then dropped like a rock to plus 0.7 here today. And plus 0.5 is actually ENSO neutral conditions. And you can see out here, we're starting to get more of those colder water temperatures in the equatorial Pacific Ocean. This is where you look for either El Nino, ENSO neutral conditions, or La Nina. And when you start to see these blues on here, that means that transition is underway, and eventually we will be seeing ENSO neutral conditions and then La Nina conditions as we go into the summer months here of 2024. And a new update from the Climate Prediction Center this morning does show those new probabilities for April 2024, has El Nino continuing here through the rest of April. But then we have higher probability switching to ENSO neutral conditions at an 85% chance of that into May, transitioning to a 71% there into June, and then finally transitioning sometime between June and July timeframe to a La Nina, so later on this summer. Now let's look here at our update from the Storm Prediction Center here this afternoon. They're still maintaining an enhanced risk of severe weather across southeastern Ohio into West Virginia and far southwestern Pennsylvania. Slight risk surrounding that across the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic. Another slight risk down here into Florida as well, where we actually did experience a couple of tornadoes earlier on today. The wind threat, though, is going to be the main mode of severe weather, damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour, but a few tornadoes will still be possible here from Lake Erie southward through Florida, and you can see the highest corridor of tornado potential with a 10% probability will extend into southeastern Ohio and then into West Virginia and far southwestern Pennsylvania, but mainly from Akron and Youngstown all the way down through Cambridge, Athens, Portsmouth, and even the Charleston, West Virginia area. And we also have to keep an eye on Pittsburgh later today as well for that tornado potential. So let's go through the afternoon. You see a messy storm mode up here across the eastern Ohio Valley into the Mid-Atlantic. Supercells, line segments, multi-cluster storms. We're just going to see a lot of thunderstorm activity. Cold frontal boundary extending down to the southeast coast, bringing the threat for severe weather across the Carolinas and portions of central Florida as well this afternoon. Going into this evening, storm coverage begins to increase more for the Mid-Atlantic, so Pennsylvania, Maryland, West Virginia, Virginia, into Delaware there. We're going to start to see more potential for strong to severe storms. Damaging winds the main risk, but a tornado or two cannot be ruled out here, and I wouldn't even rule out the threat for hail, but the hail threat overall is low through the evening. Then going into early Friday morning, we're talking after midnight, before the sun does rise. You can see showers and storms continuing. By this point, though, the severe weather threat will be a lot lower than it would be during the day because the instability will be waning at this point. Now, as we go into Friday, severe weather, not a big deal for the east. We are monitoring a marginal risk, though, across the Pacific Northwest, a rare marginal risk out here across northern Nevada, eastern Oregon, and getting into western Idaho, where that is mainly for damaging winds and some hail. Otherwise, on Friday, we're talking about the remnants of this storm here to the east. We're seeing some rainfall, some thunderstorm activity, non-severe thunderstorms, more importantly, during the day on Friday. Some of this rain turns to snow across Ontario as we go into Friday during the day. That rain shield in the U.S. will turn over to some wet snowflakes in and around the Buffalo region, up to Watertown there in western New York. Wouldn't be surprised to see some accumulating snow, but overall, again, it is April. The sun angle's higher, the ground and pavement temperatures are warmer, so I don't really expect a lot of snow there into Friday night. But let's look here at our precipitation amounts, because very heavy rainfall here across the Northeast, New England, down through the Mid-Atlantic and the Ohio Valley. You can see an additional 1 to 2 inches worth of rain in a lot of these areas from Maine all the way back through Pennsylvania here, West Virginia, eastern Ohio, into Northwest Virginia through your Saturday morning commute. Also, looking at the snowfall accumulations, like I mentioned, pavement temperatures are warmer in the middle of April. We're not really going to see a lot of that, but if it did accumulate mainly on grassy surfaces, maybe some slush on the roadways, but that may even be pushing it here. But keeping an eye on that for western New York State through your Saturday morning time frame. Speaking of the weekend, a ridge of high pressure will be building across the middle of the country here right on time for the weekend. That means temperatures will be soaring to levels we haven't seen so far this spring. Let's look at our temperature anomalies first off for Saturday. The high plains into the central plains here and parts of the upper Midwest will be experiencing those 20 to 30 degrees above normal temperature anomalies there on Saturday. Sunday, that becomes more widespread across the Great Plains into the Midwest, even the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes region, starting to see those 10, 15, 20, even 30 degrees above normal temperature anomalies. And let's kind of look at this kind of under a microscope, if you will. Let's look at these temperatures on Saturday. You can see 80 all the way up into South Dakota there, maybe taking a run at 90 in western portions of Kansas, into the Texas Panhandle there on Saturday afternoon. If we don't achieve that on Saturday, here's Sunday, low 90s from the Wichita region on westward toward Dodge City, all the way down through Elk City and Woodward, Oklahoma, getting into portions there of Wichita Falls, Lubbock, and Midland, Texas. Low 90s as we go into Sunday afternoon with that dry soil. But more importantly, folks, dry weather, so we can get outdoors, do some outdoor activities on Saturday and even on Sunday. So that warm weather will coincide with the weekend perfectly for a lot of us to get outdoors and to enjoy the nice warm weather with dry weather through the weekend time frame. You can see the active weather will be out west across California with our new trough we'll be talking about here in just a moment. That could bring some heavier rains to the Sacramento Valley, but up into Oregon. And then you can see over top of that ridge, those ridge rider disturbances up and over that into southern Canada, and then dropping southeast through the northeast here. The mid-Atlantic could be seeing some rainfall Saturday into Sunday, but overall the amounts will stay light. Now, going into early next week, I continue to monitor the potential for significant severe weather. The models have been very consistent on this, so let's show you what we know. We have a trough, a negatively tilted trough across portions of the Four Corners region during the day on Monday. Notice the ridge downstream. This trough will be intercepting that warm, moist, and unstable air into Monday night as a very negatively tilted trough moves across the southern but into the central plains. And then by Tuesday, that negatively tilted trough will be making its way up into the Midwest, interrupting your weather out there into the Midwest on Tuesday. So let's look now. The experts over there at the Storm Prediction Center already highlighting a 15 to a 30% probability or corridor of severe weather on Monday, April 15th to start the work week. 15% from Omaha and Des Moines all the way down through Kansas City here, Topeka, Wichita, down into the Fort Smith, the Tulsa region, into Dallas, Fort Worth, and even Abilene, Texas as we go into Monday. The 30% enhanced risk potential already, that's a 3 out of 5 on the scale, from southern Kansas through west central Oklahoma into northwest Texas, in and around the Vernon, Wichita Falls region, Oklahoma City and Norman, Elk City, El Reno, getting into the Lawton and Fort Sill areas, for example. We'll be keeping a close eye on you as we go into Monday. Let's look at some of the details, some of the parameters that we can look at now. We do have a dry line, a sharp dry line. We have a drought, significant one ongoing out here into New Mexico. Mexico. Warm, moist air. The Gulf of Mexico here is ripe and ready to pull that moisture northward into the central and southern plains on Monday. So dew points well into the 60s out ahead of the dry line. That will promote what we call surface-based CAPE. That's your convective available potential energy, otherwise known as instability. That'll be up around 1,000, 1,500 joules per kilogram from Nebraska southward through Kansas, west central Oklahoma, and into northwest Texas there. Also coinciding with that, moisture and instability will be the wind shear. Look at this trough coming in on the base of the trough. A fairly robust 500 millibar mid-level jet streak will be moving across the southern plains, and a very noisy looking low-level jet as well, with a 65 knot low-level jet right here into the central and southern plains, Kansas, down into Oklahoma. And so rotating thunderstorms will be a problem Monday into Monday night. Let's look at this. Again, this will change several times before now and then. Monday, after all, is a few days away, but just looking at what we can see now, what the radar could look like: supercell thunderstorms, peak daytime heating, early mid-afternoon on Monday, all modes of severe weather, tornadoes, possibly strong tornadoes, large to very large hail, and some very strong damaging winds. Then at times we'll start to see these supercells begin to grow upscale into what we call a line segment or a line of storms here that produces more damaging winds and hail versus tornadoes. But I do think the tornado threat Monday evening, Monday night will still be there. We have to watch the triple point up here into Nebraska, western Iowa, and northeast Kansas as we have more enhanced wind shear near the path of that low pressure system here. Then as we go into Tuesday, we have another day of a potential severe weather event from portions of Wisconsin, eastern Iowa through Illinois, western Indiana down into western Kentucky here, into Missouri, into Arkansas, western Tennessee, maybe far northwestern Mississippi on Tuesday. I would not be surprised by tomorrow's outlook here, by the time we do a video tomorrow morning, that this is upgraded to a 30% or an enhanced risk somewhere across the Illinois Valley because of these dynamics that I'm showing you. Dew points into the upper 50s, low 60s out ahead of the cold front here and the surface low pressure system. Instability starting to grow a little bit with some of the operational model guidance at midday today than we saw this morning. So instability becoming a little stronger on Tuesday than originally thought. Also, the mid-level jet becoming a little bit more amplified than we thought as well, with especially the European run of this. Again, this is important to note that this is one model run, but it's become a little bit more amplified on Tuesday, and a very robust, very fierce-looking low-level jet across portions of the Illinois Valley, the Midwest, and the Ohio Valley Tuesday into Tuesday night. So rotating thunderstorms again will be an issue. General timing here. Ongoing thunderstorms at the start of the period Tuesday morning. These could produce all hazards already Tuesday morning, but mainly probably just hail for the most part. Going into Tuesday afternoon, we're going to see all modes severe weather: Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, down into western Illinois, into Missouri here, near the track of that surface low. That triple point is going to be very critical. Wind shear enhanced there, and we have a lot of instability overlapping, a lot of moisture. Tornadoes, stronger tornadoes may be possible up into the Midwest Tuesday afternoon, and then a squall line of storms will be racing across Illinois, Wisconsin, and Missouri into Indiana and Michigan as we go Tuesday evening into Tuesday night. So an enhanced day of severe weather may be possible as we get closer towards Tuesday. We'll keep you updated on that. Later next week, it doesn't stop. We have another active pattern setting up middle to late next week. We have the low pressure systems from the southern plains moving northeastward through the Great Lakes and Midwest region Wednesday the 17th of April through Friday the 19th of April. And those low pressure systems are going to track up what we call a baroclinicity zone, where we have more of the temperatures colder to the northwest and warmer to the southeast. And that battleground is where those low pressure systems will track later next week. And you can see that on Wednesday, our main low from Tuesday will move up toward Lake Superior. The best dynamics won't be there, but I wouldn't be shocked if we saw severe weather over here again into Ohio or Pennsylvania on Wednesday. It's Thursday. We have more juice, more instability instability again out ahead of our next low pressure system. Midwest Ohio Valley we'll have to watch on Thursday, and then a Friday time frame we're going to be watching from around the Dallas-Fort Worth area, northeast Texas, through Little Rock, Memphis, getting over into Lexington, Richmond, and maybe even Charleston, West Virginia again for a severe weather threat about a week or so from today on Friday. And you can see there, late next week, instability will be there. That is for sure. And a lot of rainfall will be there as well. We're going to see a lot of rain with this system, but beneficial rains, folks. Northeastern Iowa, we have an extreme drought here. So you can see that this is going to come at just the right time. We need to start to help, alleviate this drought across the region. I think we'll be able to do that, at least to some degree, as we round out next week with a couple inches of rainfall on the way there, not only for northeastern Iowa, but for the Midwest, the Central Plains, the Missouri Valley, all the way down to the Southern Plains with areas that are in drought. We'll get some help later next week. We will keep you covered here, a very busy weather pattern over the next 7 to 10 days. Make sure, if you're not subscribed, to subscribe right here to Weather on the Go. We will keep you covered and safe from the storms. And also be sure to press the like button, the thumbs up button down below. It helps to get all of this information passed along to more and more people. And I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Thursday out there.